Uh, Hello, my name is Louis, and today I would like to talk about animal research and testing for my policy project. So, what is the issue? So, the first thing that I would like to talk about is what is animal testing. So, animal testing is when you want to assess the safety and efficacy of potential new drugs or chemicals that will later be used on humans. So during this experimentation, sometimes there's injection and force feeding of animals with potential harmful substances. Animals are exposed to radiation. Sometimes they are forced to inhale toxic gases, and it's also subjecting animals to threatening situations to create anxiety, depression for the purpose of research. And you might have an example with Taiwan later on. And so animals are used in laboratories for experimental testing of cosmetic products and chemical products that will later be used by potential patients and customers. But sometimes it's animals are physically abused in testing facilities, and they also during the experimentation, um, any chemical that is administered sometimes might cause pain, and the sad reality is that most of them die from the chemical, the environment they are in, because they live in bare metal cages, and so you animals die because of depression and mental disorders such as stress and pain. Um, certain countries have banned animal testing, but some do not. The animals that are used are mice, rats, birds, fish, rabbits, dogs, and primates. Each are globally around 115 million animals are used for animal research and testing. So, where those animals are used? They are used in universities by medical students and other students that have to do research and experimentation. They are used in pharmaceutical labs while creating and testing new drugs. You have cosmetics and cleansing product labs where uh, products that you buy and you're gonna use in your household are tested on animals to check for safety. And also in the U.S. they are facilities because administered run by the USDA labs. So I have some information and statistics on animal testing in the US, and so this is only information on the USDA registered research facility and federal research facilities. And so uh, on the graph on the left, it's it's animal testing. It's the number of animal involved in experimentation where there's pain, but there's painkiller. And then the other graph on the right is the number of animal use that involve pain without painkiller because it would affect the result of the experimentation. And yes, so uh, in this graphs, there are animals that are not protected by the Animal Welfare Act are not present, such as mice, rats, and fish. So on the right, you will see that hamsters and guinea pigs are used the most for experimentation that involve pain without painkiller. So there's less rabbits, sheep, and primates that are used in this kind of experiment. Whereas on the left, um, you have um, all other animals that are used the most, but you have yes, that's what you have. And so this is also the number of animal use, the overall number of animal use in US facilities and research in 2018. And so guinea pigs are the most used after all the other species that are not in a category. And rabbits are used a lot too. Right here you have the number of, this is the annual number of animals that are used for experimentation. You can see that in 2010 there was a spike, and then it's slowly decreasing over time. So in over 10 years there has been like a good decrease of 200,000. So right here I have the arguments against animal testing. So first thing is that animals are different from humans in terms of anatomy, organ function, metabolism, and nutrition. Even though that animals share 90% of her gene, they are physically different. And sometimes our artificially induced symptoms in animals do not reflect what happened in the human body. And most of the time, animals are subject to pain and drug tested on them as irreversible side effects on them. Animals do not get the same disease as humans do. This disease are artificially induced on animals to mimic the human disease, and treatment working on animals rarely work for humans. And despite many decades of studying conditions such as cancers, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, there are no reliable and effective cure. And 19% of drugs do not work on humans despite showing promising results on animals. Cancer drugs are the lowest success rate, and it's difficult to predict the side effects of cure on humans. Using mice and rats to test the safety of drugs in humans is only 40% times accurate, and 100 million experimentations in the US, only 46 new drugs were approved by the FDA in 2017. Here we have the arguments for animal testing. And so, first, through my research, I could see that the media and agencies that are in favor of animal rights, they largely influence the public perception of animal testing, portrayed as violent, invasive, and most importantly as unnecessary. But the thing is, they are necessary. Animals are still needed for biomedical research and development. Such advancement can help people who suffer from illness and injuries to survive and be cured. Major animal activists proclaim that human tissue, blood cell could be replaced laboratory animals. However, the human body is complex, and so such solution lacks the interaction with all the organs and systems that make up a body. Drugs for heart disease could be used on animals to check how it would affect other organs such as the liver and kidney. Argument fails to consider the irreplaceable roles of animals that play in sustaining human life, and to check for irreversible side effects, animals should be used because it would be too much risky on human. It is simply unethical to release a new drug into human trial without first verifying its side effect and toxicity. The scientific community is open and receptive to new solutions and approach for development of bioengineering but animal models are the most effective solution, and that's the main reason why it is used the most, because animal research and testing is hard and expensive. And so I would like to point out that there's an oversimplification of animal testing by the media and activist group. It's not as simple as it may seem to be, because researchers have to follow certain procedures and write reports about the number of animal, age, strain, and if there's other alternative that they can use for their experimentation. And so animal researchers receive threats, but researchers work to improve the life of people, right? Current event number 1, world. So this was in 2019. China was one of the countries that required imported care products and cosmetics to be tested on animals before being sold to Chinese citizens. China will soon allow companies to sell their products in the market without testing on animals. Such testing was already banned in the European Union and South Korea, but companies paid facilities and laboratories to practice animal testing so that they could sell their products in China. So this is a huge step toward animal testing-free products. The other one is Taiwan and drowning and electroshock on animals. Companies in Taiwan has to when they sell products that indicates that it will reduce fatigue, they have to do some testing and proving that it does that. And so there are some companies that force mice to swim to exhaustion, and most die by drowning. Some mice have to run to exhaustion with the product with the drink to see if they are able to run faster, but they run on electrified treadmills, so they don't stop running. And yet thousands of animals died this way. And now the new plan is to require and allow only safe and effective human tests. And so this happened in the other one is in Spain. So regional officials in Spain have temporarily halted animal testing activities after the publication of footage that show animals being taunted, smacked, tossed around. The activities was altered after an inspection team visited the facility and confirmed animal mistreatment. The animals found at the facilities are under the care and supervision of a regional government in Spain, and veterinarians are checking animals too. Current event number 2, national the fight. So Maryland will be the 5th state to ban testing makeup on animals. So in the US, there is no federal law that restrict animal testing for cosmetics, and so there are a few states that have decided to ban. And so there has been an overall increase of animal testing awareness and the mistreatment of animal in facilities that conduct chemical testing. So that's a great news, and the legislation will go into effect in July 2022. And so Virginia is also Virginia will become the 4th state to ban such testing. And so we see that there has been a progression in that there is more and more states that have legislation to ban animal testing. And this legislation takes time, but it's going into effect. And that's great news. Yes, but I think it would take time before there's a federal law that bans animal testing on cosmetics. And so I have a local new in the state of New York. So this is something that has happened 2019. So the Animal Defense Fund filed a lawsuit demanding reports about an experiment that's on cat conducted by State University of New York Colleges of Optometry. The lawsuit is in response of Sony refusal to release record of the experiment violating the New York Freedom of Information laws, and he has experimented on cats' vision using painful and invasive techniques since 2002 using taxpayer dollars. The dispute was settled on November 21st of 2019. It resulted in a victory of the Animal Defense Fund. Sony had to make the records public and ended experiment on cats and kittens. So right here I have a few political parties. So yes, facilities conduct research on animals to find cures for Alzheimer, and so this is and so animals are mistreated and abused sometimes, but they may not be abused, but the thing is that the chemicals and drugs that are used are dangerous and they have irreversible side effects. And so yes, so I'm going to show all these cartoons right here. Cosmetics companies sometimes do testing on rabbits for skin products, and so and air products too. So it's not funny. Here is another one on animal testing. So it says, should cosmetics be tested on animals? This would be a trick question. I mean, that's not how animal testing works, but yep. Right here again. Right here you have AIDS, cancer, acne. So probably to have the cure. Yep. Researchers sometimes need to find grants for the research. After my research, I concluded that animal testing for experimentation should be done in absolute necessity and in controlled laboratories. Researchers should try to find alternatives, but I consider the fact that animal testing has resulted in breakthrough that certain drugs cannot be tested on a human at an early stage. Regarding animal testing for cosmetics, I believe it is unnecessary and that human skin models in laboratories such as the one used by L'Oreal help in reducing the use of animal for care products testing. And I would like to talk to any future students in the medical or bioengineering side. So you will have to experiment on animals, and I understand and I support you. So, but however, if you witness any behavior or abuse, please report and speak up. So these are the alternatives that exist. Cell culture. So cells can be used to create 3D models of organs to test for therapies and drugs. Human tissue. Tissue can be given to replace cruel rabbits irritation test. Computer models can be used to replicate the human body and to conduct virtual experimentation. And volunteering studies is people will volunteer to test vaccine and new drugs. Policies. So the first policy that I want to have is animal should be done on animals that are bred only for the purpose of animal experimentation. There should be a regulation to restrict cosmetic testing on animals, but the most important thing I've come to realize is recognize alternative and making them easily accessible. I think that's the main point. It should be we should make them so much accessible so that instead of using it on animals, it's used on computer models and cell tissues. Government officials at the USDA should make announcements to facilities and research labs often. And I think that I believe that there should be cameras in the facilities because abuse happen a lot in there. And I would like expert to see also the enforce certain regulations that are already in place, such as the training of personnel in labs, the hygiene of the kitchens and the room. And I think the other solution would be spreading awareness about experimentation on animals. Law and legislation that will ban animal testing takes years to happen. So I want to make sure that people are conscious about what's the issue about, and I think if there's awareness that is created in society, then there will be improvement in the next 5-10 years because people will be aware. Citizens and customers will be aware when shopping for care products, and they will also are more likely to buy non-tested animal products for their home. Yes, so that's what my experimentation is about.